Hey, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a file using PowerShell. And I have to warn you that it kind of sucks, to be honest. It sucks because it's a lot more verbose and an uglier syntax than it is using a Unix shell. Usually, like what I'll be typing in the course is just touch and then a file name, app.py if I wanted to make a new Python file, or I don't know, rock, paper, scissors, rps.py. And that would make me a new empty file. It ideally would. It doesn't work in PowerShell, but on a Mac, on a Linux machine, it works. Unfortunately, here it doesn't. So there's a couple of alternatives. And I've actually recorded this video more than once because the first alternative that I showed looks like this. Let me just make a new directory. I'm on my desktop. I'll just call this, what should I call this? Playground. And then cd into playground, you can see it was made right here. Okay, if I want to make a, let's call a file slide.py. If I wanted to do that, one option is this. It looks kind of gross. Echo, $, null, two greater than signs, and then the name of a file, like slide.py. What this does is it makes an empty file. This $, null means don't put anything in the file. If I had replaced this with something else, it would be inserted into that file. So $, null is a way of saying make it empty. And if I type ls, you can see it's now been created. If I double click here, you can also see there's it tells me it's a Python file called slide. Now the problem that I don't want to get too far into the weeds with, what I discovered after recording this video once, is that by default, this command creates a file in what's known as UTF-16. It's a text encoding. I'm not going to go into it too much. All you need to know is that Python wants files, or Python 3 wants UTF-8. If I put some code in there, like 1 plus 2, and I save, I'm getting ahead of myself, I know, with Python and adding code, but this, hopefully you can see, is just going to add two numbers together. It is valid Python code. And to execute it, I should be able to just run Python slide.py. But I get this awful error message, non-UTF-8 code. And that's because I created the file with this command. So long story short, if you want to use that command, you're welcome to, but you'll have to do a file save with encoding UTF-8. And now it saves it, and if I go back, let me clear to make space. But if I run that command again, it now works. I don't see anything because I didn't print anything, I didn't output, but I didn't get an error. Anyway, you probably don't have Python installed, so this is a bit of a tangent, but I needed to explain why that command doesn't really work. It's also just an ugly command compared to touch. Touch is very nice and succinct. This is a lot of syntax. So then the alternative, I did some research, and I gotta be honest, it's not any better at all. It's just different. This is what it looks like. New dash item, space, dash, item type, file. And then the name of a file. So we have slide.py, let's go with swings.py if we're going for a playground theme. I hit enter, ls, and you can see we now have slide.py and swings.py. So again, that gross command, new dash item type file, swings.py, or whatever file name. So I gotta be honest, if this was the command I had to type every time, I think that I just wouldn't type it. I would just use the graphical user interface, and I'll quickly show you what I mean. We haven't talked about Sublime Text yet. This is a text editor. You can use any text editor, but I'm just going to show an example. If I made a new file, I might just do this, file new file, or command N, save it, and then just find the directory I want to save it in manually. Desktop, I want to save it in playground, and I'm going to call it, so what do we have, swing, slide, how about monkeybars.py. And then that will save the file there. If I go back to PowerShell and type ls, it's now there. So remember, the whole point of this section is to show you mostly how to navigate using the command line, so that if, let's say I had a brand new PowerShell window, and I need to run that file I just made, monkeybars.py, I need to get there. So I just need to know, okay, I'm here, I need to go to desktop, let me move this up so you can see it, and it's inside a playground, and now I have access to monkeybars, so I can run Python monkey bars. It's not going to do anything. But this is what we need to be able to do. And once again, I want to reiterate, we don't have Python installed, but I'm just trying to prove to you why this is important. And I have to be honest, like I said, those commands that we saw are pretty brutal to actually make a new file. So they exist, you can use them, but I might honestly recommend just making your files using a text editor like Sublime or Notepad. So I just go, File, Save, and then find the directory as we already showed. And you can just put this wherever it would need to go. Desktop, Playground, and we'll call this one, I don't know, what else is on a playground? Sandbox.py. And now back here, type ls, and we can see there's Sandbox. All right, so I know that was a lot, especially with those tangents mixed in there. I just want to make it clear that you do not have to do all of this. You can make files, whatever is the easiest way for you personally. So don't feel too intimidated if you're new to this, because frankly, I would be intimidated too if I had to remember these commands. Something like that is just hideous in my opinion. Anyway, so don't feel bad, by the way, if you do have a PC. It's okay. You're not at a disadvantage in any way in this course. It's just that you might see me use a command that really it's only touch, which I explained in this video, creates a new file. If you need to make your own new file, you could just use it any of the other ways I showed you, using Sublime Text, using Notepad, whatever works. Or if you remember these commands, you could use that too. Anyway, next, and the final thing I'm going to show you is how to delete, how to remove folders and files.